Good morning, everybody. So it is the 23rd of February, and today we're going to do the market recap for today's session. So there's a lot to cover, a hell of a lot of value, so stay through to the end to get the most out of this video, right? So if you're new to this channel, welcome. Consider smashing a like and subscribe as always. It helps the channel out, and it also helps other viewers like yourself view this content and learn. And like always, I do have a Discord called Red Pill Trading, which is currently open, and it's currently still free to join. So head over to my socials and click the link tree, and you'll find the links in there. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the action, alright? So where I want to start is where I had my bias going into the open, right? So if you've watched my previous day, so if you've watched the 20 seconds recap, you'll know that with my 3 drives pattern, right? And what do I know? That there's this hidden order block. So down at 4,000, and again on the propulsion block at 4,005, we had 2 very, very strong order blocks. What do those order blocks entail? They entail orders for the market maker to pick up more longs to drive price higher. So I was looking for price to run down into this zone to pick up longs to move high, right? So I called that out in Discord. And my other zone was in the hourly chart, right? So if we just look at this briefly, and this is actually the 24th at the moment, so you're seeing a lot of price action that is happening today. So yeah, this is a recap of the 23rd, right? So if you take this displacement leg, right? This displacement leg needs to be rebalanced to a certain extent, right? It needs to get above equilibrium before, and that's running into a premium before running down to a discount. And if we remember, price moves from a premium to a discount and a discount to a premium. That's how it oscillates, right? On lower time frames and also higher time frames. So I was looking for price to run up either into this fair value gap on the hourly, which was just above equilibrium, or this fair value gap, which was in the OTE zone, right? The target entry, optimal target entry zone, right? Between 62 and 79 fib. So these were my 2 levels, right? And so I was calling it out live in Discord that I was doing nothing off the open, and I was waiting for price to run up to my objective, right? Objectives. So the 2 targets, I'll just mark them out here so you can see them more clearly. With this was my range that I was working. So I was looking to go short up here or long down here, right? So I'm not going to go into my pre-market session because I did take some trades in here. Head over to my Twitter if you want to see those. I took a lot of handles in the pre-market session, the London session. So I wasn't going to jump in when price ran up to this initial target, this initial fair value gap, because I thought it may run slightly deeper, right? So I took a second entry and we called it live in Discord, and you can see when you head over there, a lot of people backed, right? So what we got is price ran up into that fair value gap. It ran up into that fair value gap, right? And at the open, that is where we found ourselves, right? So we had this small little swing down, and it flew back up into this fair value gap. So this is my height. So I was tempted to take a short here, but I didn't, right? So what was I waiting for? I was waiting for a second entry, right? So price ran up into that fair value gap, it came back down, aggressive displacement, broke the market structure, so this is now a market structure shift, right? It purged the previous buy side up here, and headed down, right? And why was this also, just briefly, why was this area what was the other confluence that we had in this area? This was also the new week opening gap, right? It was also the new week opening gap. So if I bring this over quickly, so this is my new week opening gap chart. If I hover over here, you'll see that it just entered the new week opening gap. So that was forming another quote unquote resistance, right? So you have multiple confluences there as to why price would reject at that level. If we also swing over to this piece of price action over here, this is on a 5-minute chart, right? This is a rejection block, right? So we came up and we pierced through and we were up here. This piece of price action here is a rejection block, right? So a pool of liquidity, strong wick candle through, retracement back, price can't get back up into equilibrium. This is a rejection block, right? So this candle here is specifically the rejection block, and I have done a ICT video on rejection blocks, so do look at my ICT series. I'll put a card in the top right corner so you can see it, and I'll also put one at the end just for your reference, right? So that's what we were looking at. They were the confluences that we had when we were going short, right? So when price broke this market structure, and let's just drop back onto the 1 minute quickly. When price broke this market structure, we were looking for second entries, right? And so what we had is we had this old breaker block, right? And for me, that was acting as the resistance, okay? The resistance. And so we had above that 2 further blocks, okay? And so for those of you who are in my Discord and who are have watched many of my recap videos, you'll know I look for this specific thing. I call it a V-shaped pattern, right? You'll see it on both sides of the wave, right? So in this instance, we are bearish. So we've gone up and we've gone down, and we've taken out the liquidity below here, right? We are looking for price to run back up into here. Okay, but what we'll get in here, and let me just bear with me 1 second, what we will get is we will get this, right? We will get this. and this is, in this instance, a SIBI, right? And it would be there, right? And so I am therefore looking for price to see how to use this. Sorry, it's not this one. It's the one I'd already marked out on the chart, right? So this is BPR in a SIBI, right? So this is balanced price range now. This is balanced price range. So you're looking for price to go higher, move lower, create this balanced price range, and use it as resistance, okay? And then just above that, we had this volume imbalance, and you can see that price ran up into the volume imbalance. So we called this out in Discord, and we went short here, right? We went short here, stops are above the volume imbalance, and we rode it down, and we caught a bang. You know, some people took 10 handles, some people took 20 handles, but ultimately we rode it down to what was my ultimate objective target, which was that order block on the 15-minute chart, which I mentioned to you earlier, right? Which is this, my 3 drives pattern. And if you don't know my 3 drives pattern, watch my episode on FOMC, and it goes through all of that in more detail, right? So price rejected that breaker block, ran down to this order block. So as this was my area where I was picking up longs, what did I do? I picked up longs here, and I rode it up, and I trailed my stop, right? So I took about 4 handles in here as well, so it was a nice little trade. And price ultimately tanked, right? So it broke, and it found an objective down here of 3975, which was a fair value gap on a displacement leg previously, and it was also a monthly target, right? And so price reversed back up, and it found itself back inside the range, right? Now, if we just take this price leg, right? So if we take this piece of price action here, what we have here up here on the 1 hour is a broadening formation, right? This is a broadening formation. So if I just bring across my charts for a second, this is how I trade broadening formations. So you'll see them a lot on charts on all time frames. So you can see it here, right? So you get this broadening formation, it's called, and you can see it has this inside it. It has the 3 drives within inside it, and price will run to the high and usually come back and test a BPR within inside that 3 drives. If it breaks it, right? If it breaks it, we're going to show signs of weakness. If it holds it, it's going to show signs of strength. So that's an example where it held. This is an example where it failed, right? Exactly the same broadening formation, but it broke through the BPR, and now it's using that as resistance, okay? So what I was looking for was price to run back up to 4,000. So I had a target of 4,000 because I know that price is going to come back and retest this 3 drives, the BPR within inside this, and we have BPR hiding just within here, right? So this was my level that I was looking at, up around 4,000, 4,005. So when we were down here, I took longs, believe it or not, and because my ultimate objective was for it to come back and retest that BPR. And in this instance, it was the target of 4,000, right? So what did price do? It ran back up to 4,000, and I scalped my way up here, and I took about 10 handles in total to scalp my way up on multiple contracts, right? And if you want to head over to the Discord, feel free to do that because I show the trades, right? So what we then have is we can look at this, and price runs up to 4,000, right? And it finds itself within a period of consolidation, right? It finds itself within a period of consolidation over here, and it punches through. Now, if you remember how I like to look at these V-shaped reversals, right? We're looking for price to come up, break through, right? Break through, and come back what? Come back to what? Balanced price range, or a BISI, or a SIBI with it just below this swing high, right? So on the 5-minute, we had it here, right? We had it here, and for me, this was what I was looking at as areas to bounce off long and to hold support, right? So I was calling it out on Discord. I said if it holds this BISI here, I will be bullish, okay? And then I'll be targeting these relative equal highs. And so it held this, it held it, and so we took longs off here as well. If price had broken through this, I'll be looking for it to run down back into this bullish order block, potentially to move higher. So the moment it was holding strength and it punched through 4,000 like this, we were looking for it to hold this this BISI here, this balanced price range, for it to move higher, okay? And so, yeah, price chopped around, stayed in here, and interestingly, it ran up to the CME open, so it ran back all the way back up to the open price to a tick. It ran up, and then it found resistance at the 8:30 price, and then it pretty much closed around the midnight price, right? And so that's going to sum up my session today, right? It's mainly knowing where to frame trades and not getting in trades too early, waiting for your setups to form and having a strong bias and allowing that trade to play out, right? And then just spending time on charts, understanding things about broadening formations, and understanding where price is likely to move. And you can see quite clearly on the hourly chart up here, this was a broadening formation, right? So that's going to be it for today. Until next time, trade safe and trade smart, and I will see you on the other side. Take care. Bye.